I had the idea. When I had the message that I had a problem that I had to get through, I didn't realize that it would change my life so much, and I mean tremendously. I decided that I would thank everybody by a card. So I asked my niece. I had received over 200, whether it was cards, masses, flowers, phone calls, wherever. So I said to Madeline, when you go out, would you please get me about 150 thank you cards? And she said, okay. She did a good job. She picked out very beautiful cards. And I was happy. But then I sat down and I started to write the cards. I got to the third card and I said, I can't do this. I just can't do this. And Madeline, thinking I wasn't feeling well, said, it's okay, Aunt Rita, maybe you'll do it tomorrow. But that was not it. The messages were great, but I needed to see you. I needed to thank each one of you for what you have done for me. The response that when I became ill, it was unbelievable. I'm a very private person when I'm home at night. When I'm out at church or at the hospital with my prayer group, I'm there with my Mahjong group. I am there and I have a good time and I enjoy every minute of it. I thought, well, what am I going to do? So about 2 o'clock in the morning, I decided to have a party. So I get out my pencil and paper and I wrote down everything that I thought we needed to do. So I got a committee. I put the committee on this paper. I had a committee for the church. I had a committee for the Mahjong group. I had a committee for the prayer group. I had a committee for the neighbors, and I had a committee for the medical group. So I called these 4 other committee ladies, because I was one of the committee, and I said, meet me, come to my house. I'm having a meeting on Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning. And this is okay. When Tuesday morning came, I got a little nervous because I forgot to ask them, did they want to do this? But they did show up. I had an agenda ready, everything from 1 to 10 or whatever it was, and they all sat down and they looked at it and they got very busy. We met for weeks on ends. They did all the work, believe me. I just made sure that the work got done, okay? At one time, Stephanie, who was in charge of our prayer group, where are you, Stephanie? She said, Rita, couldn't you be a little more organized? We had a great time. So Tuesday mornings, for many Tuesdays at 10:30, we had coffee and scones, okay? So that's how this party got started, and that's why you're here. It makes me feel so good that we could get together to celebrate life. Because I had about, I would say, 9 phone calls when the invitations went out. And they says, Rita, I got your invitation. It says celebrate life, but don't we celebrate life at death? And I said, yes, we do. You're right. We celebrate that person's life, and we go and we honor that person. But I'm going to have a party because I want to see who's coming. So that's why you're here. Okay? Now this committee was very, very strong that I had, and anything we did, we had to be unanimous in what we were going to do. And one thing I said, well, I want to have a message for a few minutes just to say thank you to everybody for supporting me and getting me through this trying time. And they said, yeah, but you can't have any notes. So if I miss anybody tonight, when I thank you, Please forgive me. It was not intentional. Blame it on the committee. About 3 weeks ago, I went to a conference in Orlando for the auxiliary, the hospital organization for the state of Florida. The AFHAV has this conference every year. We had a speaker there, a nurse. She was a humorist. And I felt that she was talking to me, telling me about all of you. And I was in awe of this, and I would like to share this with you, and this is how I want to thank each and every one of you. She said, you're all volunteers, you serve with love. And that's how I felt each one of you did that for me. She started with the letter S, and she said, you smile. You always smile when you do something, and you have a specialty about you. And that's what this group is about. You had a special thing about you. We had my neighbors who came. They brought flowers and cards and phone calls and kept track of me to see that I was okay. Then we had the church group, and they prayed and prayed. They had a special mass. Father Barham had a special mass, and the people came with their supportive prayers, their mass cards, and many healing cards. Then we had the Mahjong group, and they had a specialty. Each one of these girls, each night, took a turn and did a gourmet meal and brought it to my home. And I mean gourmet, from soup to nuts, from an appetizer all the way to dessert and a glass of wine. So I always remember that. And to include in that group, we had Stephanie and Tom, who every Friday night came with the meal to make sure that I was okay and I wouldn't go hungry. And let me tell you, I didn't. But you know what? You all spoiled me. Because when it was over, I didn't get this anymore. I'm back to the sandwiches. So from the Mahjong group, then we go to the prayer group. And the prayer group who prayed and prayed every day for me to make sure that I would have the strength to get through this and I would get well. And I am well, and I did get through this very well. And of course we had then Father Barrow, Father Topo, Monsignor. These priests at this very busy time of the season at Easter, they came every day. One took turns, and they brought the Holy Sacrament to me, which is so much part of my life, and I will never forget that. From the prayer group, then we had the hospital group. And between their cards and their flowers and their gifts and their visit, Pat Donovan came every Thursday at 3 o'clock, and I looked for that. She brought me a cinnamon bun that I like and my favorite chips that I like. It's a little bag of chips that we get at the hospital. And she brought that every Thursday at 3 o'clock, and I will never forget that either. So now who did I got the prayer group, I got the neighbors, I got the hospital, I got the Mahjong, and last but not least was the medical group. Okay? I look at Dr. Lobel, and let me tell you, this is an experience that I think will be in my memory forever with all of you too. I have never met a doctor that's so compassionate and kind and let me feel that I was actually a human being, and he cared for me as a human being. When he had to give me my second news, my bad news, I sighed for a minute and I said, Lord, please give me the strength to be strong and to get through this. And he, I guess, sensed it somehow, and he came over to me and he said, you're our family now. You are not alone. And he gave me a hug. What doctor, let me tell you, takes the time to let you know that you feel so important in his life? And that I will never forget, and I thank you, Doctor, for that, and you'll always be in my place. And of course, I should not forget this beautiful committee, right? Stephanie, if you'll stand. Stephanie was in charge of the prayer group. Okay, Madeline, stand. She was in charge of the Mahjong group. Brenda, stand. She was in charge of the neighbors. Okay, Kendall, she was in charge of the hospital group. And of course, Lynn, she was in charge of the church group. So I had a lot of help. I had a lot of angels. And I thank each and every one of you for what you have done for me in whatever way that you did do it. I will cherish this forever. And to get on to what this nurse said, she took the E then, and she said the E was for energy. And your energy should always be positive. And from each one of you, when you called me, the first one that called me was Teresa Banks. And she started that energy. When the news broke, she was the first call that I got, and she had a good talk with me about how I'm going to get through this. Okay, then you take the R, which was refresh. You certainly refreshed me. I felt that I was always a giver. I love to give. If I can give you a cookie, and that cookie is going to make you happy, I will give you 2 cookies, okay? Because that's the way I am. But now my life changed. I now became a receiver. My whole life changed and opened up, and I had to receive. And it was not easy in the beginning, because remember, my time was being invaded. But let me tell you, it was the best thing that happened to me in my life, okay? Then you go to the value. Put a value on everything that each one of you have done for me. There is no price. There wouldn't be no way that we could say this was worth this. It's something that's going to be forever. Not only for me, but you will continue to do it forever, I'm sure. And you go to the last E. All of this that happened, that you have done for me, will be everlasting. It'll be everlasting in my heart and in my mind. And I will never forget you for doing all of this for me. I didn't want to do this. I will always remember you for doing this, and I thank you. I just want to leave you with something that my father told me when I was 7 years old. He used to call me his little lady. He said, little lady, start your day with a hug. Always try to get a hug during the day, and that will start your day. Well, let me today, I got many hugs. It will last for the rest of the year. And then he said, get a smile. Give somebody a smile, and you will get a smile back, and that will make your day strong. And of course, last but not least, he said always at the end of the day, give somebody a butterfly kiss. And to you and each everyone, I give you a butterfly kiss.
This is Our Lady. Right here. I'll tell you, that's quite a tribute, Rita. From us to you and from you to us. It's one continuous circle, isn't it?